Hello and welcome to another episode of the Noizze podcast. Today I'll be interviewing Jon from Cage Fight as we talk about their new record coming out and all things politics and everything else that appears to be irritating him and many other like-minded people within the industry. This is a good one. Please take a listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. Please drop us a follow on Twitter at Noizze Podcast. Please follow Noizze at Noizze UK, as well as follow us on Facebook. And the YouTube channel is of the same name. This podcast is sponsored by Stereo Brain Records. And enjoy. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Noizze podcast. I'm with today Jon Reid from Cage Fight, and we're going to be chatting a little bit. First of all, Jon, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. How are you today, mate?
Thanks very much. It's lovely to be here. Yeah, I'm all good. All good. Everything is fiery at the
moment. Terrific, mate. Terrific, mate. Feeling very similar myself. So let's get started. So Cage Fight, talk to me about it. Combination of Tesseract, varying other bands. Between yourself and drummer Nick and all the rest of this, everything that's going on. It's like a widespread of interests and sounds, which begs the question, what made you settle on a hardcore band and a hardcore record? How did that conversation start and what was the conclusion there?
I've loved hardcore music for 25 years. I've seen Biohazard back in the 90s, early 90s. I've seen Downset, wow. In Strife, Madball. Yeah. I love that music myself personally. So does James. The other guys, of course, love hardcore music still, but we've definitely been fans of it for a long time. And I've personally been probably sort of dabbling in it, sort of hardcore, definitely influence bands. We're not here to talk about that. For a long time, the honesty, the urgency, the visceral nature of the music. Which I think, it speaks with honesty, which is hugely important to what we were trying to do. And when James and I were at bedroom sort of band, getting some ideas and songs together stage, it was something that spoke to both of us, certainly as a starting point.
So was it a conscious idea before you started writing the riffs, or did you start writing the riffs and you were like, wow, we're writing a hardcore record? That's what's happening here.
It's kind of gone where it's gone. Obviously, those people that will listen to it will hear multiple, heavy music influences in it. So it wasn't sort of prescriptive in that way, but certainly something that was groovy, hard hitting, with a hardcore punk attitude towards it. Was 6-string guitars played in standard tuning or drop D, 4-string bass, this kind of thing. We're not talking about click tracks here. We're talking about plug in and play attitude. We're talking about something raw and real. With that being a shaping umbrella, that would be true to say.
Okay, fair enough. So we're more about the mentality between you guys and going something as raw and not so necessarily unprepared, but kind of uninhibited in terms of the way that you're producing stuff. That kind of influenced maybe the riffs and the music that came out, rather than saying, all right, we need to subscribe to these tropes. We need to make it sound like this. We need to have this kind of chord sequence and this kind of vocal line and that type of stuff.
Yeah, it was a vibe thing, It was like, as I said, we know that was kind of where it was going, that kind of thing. I think, as I said, when young people listen to it, they will hear multiple influences and because people are, other guys in the band and, different, types of heavy music is, we fused in there, but certainly that attitude towards it. It wasn't like, right, we need to sound like sick of it all.
Yeah,
or agnostic front or something like that. It wasn't or copy. It was trying to be what it is we like and what we do. And a lot of like thrash. You can hear a lot of thrash in there and that kind of stuff. So it was always going to be crossover. But I think hardcore was it's a huge love of mine. For sure. And as a starting point, I would say.
Yeah, completely understand that, which actually brings me nice to my next question. You're pretty much gone immediately on tour with Cro-Mags and Sepultura. So we're talking about you being a bit of a a metal historian a little bit, sort of going back to the 90s and things like that. That's got to be fucking huge. Let's talk about that, please. Touring with Cro-Mags has got to be like a how has this happened kind of moment. That's got to be amazing, right? Talk to me about it.
Well, New York hardcore is I love it. I love the city. I love the vibe. Cro-Mags obviously are legendary from that scene. They're from before the 90s, really, isn't it? It's the Age of Quarrel album, 1986. Yeah, it's hugely important. I think again with that kind of crossover thing. There's elements of thrash in it. A lot of thrash metal bands and things like that cite them as influences and things like that. So. Yeah, I mean that's it's mad cool. I can't believe it's happened. The band's only really been a band as it stands of 4 people for just over a year. So, to be doing this, to be have an album dropping, and being able to do some shows, with Sepultura and Cro-Mags, and we played with Napalm Death. This was madness, as well. In a good way. It's very humbling.
Of course.
So yeah.
But it's just a phenomenal thing, like you say, like to be in the band's infancy, really, and then to be sort of inserted into these massive tours. It kind of speaks actually to the familial aspect of hardcore music and really in metal in general. Sort of bands coming together, bands getting brought along. There's no element of sort of unnecessary hierarchy or sort of any patronizing sort of nature of the tour. You've just sort of come along and you're sort of working together, and with a legendary band like Cro-Mags, like you say, that New York hardcore scene, it speaks for itself, just sort of decades of fame and notoriety. So I was having a look through some of the notes that came along with the album over the course of this week, and James mentioned in one of some of the interviews that he was doing, he had the bones of a few songs, a few riffs during the lockdown. So obviously that was a couple of years ago. How did the writing process go through what I imagine was quite a fast-paced turnaround? So you have like a few songs at the beginning of that 2020 period. When did things really start moving? And it was like, oh, we're in a band now. This is what's taking place. We've got a project.
Yeah. Okay. We've been throwing some ideas, he and I, for a while, over probably a little bit of extended getting some good ideas together. Nothing really too serious or anything like that. Through that process. I think we ended up with 3 songs that we were thinking of sounding pretty banging, and we're in good shape. We're thinking this needs something. That was when it was James that saw a vocal cover that Rochelle did, the Black Dahlia Murder. And because at this time she was looking for a band, she'd not been in a band in years, and had been doing covers. I didn't know who she was. I've never met her. Yada yada, and that kind of thing. And he was like, do you know what? Let me just send her one of the tracks, see what happens. Yeah, see what. And 24 hours later, she sent it back vocals, and I was like, well, that's fairly awesome. That's incredibly furious.
That'll do. That's all right.
Yeah, that's caught the vibe, and that's amazing. Let's send her another. 48 hours later, bang, we got another track. That's even better. Sent her another one, and another day or two or whatever it was, we got another one, and it was like, okay,
you got like an EP within a week.
Yeah, 3 songs. So we got 3 songs there. I mean, they were sketched out, and the concepts and the ideas, they were written in that way. But to have that there, we were like, oh, okay, right, this is pretty intense. I'd been speaking to Nick. I've been put in touch with him by a mutual friend. Yeah, shout out Maz, hold tight. And we were trying to have a jam, and but it just COVID just didn't happen. You know what I mean? It just couldn't happen. There were options, when things got a bit easier. Me and James both South London, so he don't live that far away from me, to be honest. It's not like Ramsey Street or anything, but it's he's not far. And this kind of thing. So we would and we were like, right, 3 tracks. Right, this is sounding pretty. This is sounding pretty deadly. And then at this point as well, I mean, the logo, James did it on Microsoft Paint. I mean, it was as DIY, like ghetto as you like. I mean, yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? This
That's phenomenal. That's as punk as it gets in 2022 now. That is, that's Microsoft
right,
Paint.
exactly.
That's
you know
phenomenal.
I mean? Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's it. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that, and it was like, and this was just like, well, this sounds pretty good, and then very, very quickly we got interest. We didn't have website, Facebook, nothing. Yeah, do you know what I mean? We had free jams. Yeah, that's what we had. We had free jams that we thought like were banging. Which are on the album as it goes, but it's re-recorded. And then we got interested, and it was like, we were going to ask, what do you want to do with this? We got, well, we want to do an album, and then from there, once we had the interest and and the ability to do the record. Yeah, we pretty much wrote and recorded the whole thing in 6 months.
Wow.
So
it's astonishing, really.
That's what happens. Because it's all been like, as a band, so as a band, we've only been around, just over a year as the four of us. And the first bit, I mean, Rochelle had, she was living in Glasgow at the time, but because of all the COVID business, she'd gone back to South France for a little while and that kind of thing. So it was a case of like Zoom calls and this sort of nonsense. Exactly what we're doing now. This is still my life. Outside of music, this is my life. On Zoom calls.
Yeah, man, another feeling, bud. Another feeling.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look, I'm looking at myself again in a screen.
Yeah, I'm just having conversations with myself in the mirror and hoping somebody else replies for once. That's
for sure, brother, man. I get that. I mean, that's been today. It's how I do. That's what I've been doing today. Anyway, no.
Absolutely.
So anyway, you just got me off piece, man. I'm just a talker. You're in trouble.
Yeah, no. I'm happy to. No, just give me the story. I'm happy to hear it. I love it when you get to ask. I just have an interview where I can ask 2 questions and then just sit back and just let you just take it, man. That is perfect for me.
Just need to mute me. Do you know what I mean? Just press the mute button.
I love that I'm speaking to a hardcore musician, a punk fan, and every answer's like a prog song, and it's just weaving in and out of ideas, like bring it back to the chorus. We're going away. There's fucking fairies in the background. We're in France 3.5 minutes ago. I don't know what's going on.
We can't cast prog. That's not allowed.
No, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Absolutely.
Oh, good. There is definitely someone that needs to be. No. There's lots of people that are. Loads of people. There's loads of people love it. No, I'm teasing, of course. Right, edit that bit.
It's not going to be the title of the podcast at all. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, good. John's been saying what? Offending who? Again? Who let him talk to the press? No, anyway, so that's right. Anyway,
so we were vocalists in France, 6 months writing. Everything
you know where I was in the conversation. Yeah, we're doing that. So this happened, and and it came back. So it all happened, as I said, very, very quickly in 6 months from us to, getting the track together, the album together and recording it. So that was like, pretty intense. We've just kind of like let it take its path. I think there's the songs mean something. There's that honesty to it. There's definitely thought into it, has gone into that and what we're trying to say. But just nobody's told us what to write. Nobody's told us what to do. This has just been, completely organic in that way. In writing the jam, or write the jam or the jams that write the track. So that's amazing as well. And here we are just over a year later.
You're absolutely right. It's phenomenal that we've gone, like you say, without a social media platform, without a Facebook or YouTube or anything that you mentioned. It's actually quite nice that I think that sometimes there's a tendency to bands to overthink the process. There's almost too many voices in the room almost, and too many possibilities, and too many logos, and too many record producers, and all the rest of it. And it feels like you guys have had the complete opposite experience, probably for the beneficiary of creating a product that's pure to you. I'm actually going to ask you about this because this is a quote from you. So I want to sort of repeat this back to you and just see what you think. Because I had questions on this. I was like, just what does it mean?
Go ahead. Ask me.
All right. So You mentioned UK political issues such as Brexit as part of the influences for the lyrical themes of the album, and you said the last couple of years has been the greatest media heist in modern British history, and then the PR doesn't elaborate on that at all. So, John, do you want to talk? What was the greatest media heist in Great British history? What are you referring to exactly? Is it COVID? Is it Boris?
I mean, I hope, yeah,
general political sphere.
I hope you've had your eyes open. I don't want to go too in depth about this, but I have seen clear misinformation. I have seen clear massaging of truths, massaging of public opinion. I have seen people utilizing division, hatred, immigration, racism, women's positions within society. I have seen a stark turning in the temperature of not only this country, but around the world. From what I can see, I see truth being almost, doesn't matter. It's about a spin. It's about a meme. It's about where has decency come from? Where's it gone? Not where's it come from? Where's it gone? What's happening here? Where's truth? Where's this going with it? Why is this huge division and anxiety and anger? That I see. I don't want to go into too many specifics here and that kind of thing, but this is what I am seeing. This is my opinion. And I am seeing this spun through media avenues, through media channels, through things. There are some that are trying to speak their truth, and I could tip my proverbial hat to it. So that's that's actually setting me off on a rant here. But it's
okay. It's absolutely fine.
But I genuinely see this. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, have you not seen the climate of this country change yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I think
have you not seen the prevalence of racism on the street? Violence. Going out, people being emboldened by their attitudes. Donald Trump.
I think 2016, the world turned on its axis a little bit. The election of Trump and the Brexit vote took two Western civilizations and completely changed the ramifications, the way that we do politics. Brexit went through based on a lie. Let's just start there. And it also emboldened. Yeah, of course I do. It emboldened far right politics. All of a sudden, people like Nigel Farage are relevant. All of a sudden, and then you look around Europe. Europe has been slowly edging to the right side of European politics, really a couple of years now. And then you couple that with obviously the lockdown, pretty much gave government carte blanche to sort of start legislating their own rules, which gave them a sense of position. The scary thing is people talk about Boris and talk about the current government and that sort of thing. Talk about trying to hold them accountable. They have an 80-seat majority. They don't give a fuck what we think. That's the bottom line. We vote with them in fucking spades. It's a Thatcher 1979 level election win.
Any day, you see this stuff. I mean, Susanna Reid, hold tight. I like her last name. It's good. But anyway, But anyway, she you know what I mean? She just held him to account there, just pulled him up, showing us to be a liar there. People don't care. This is the thing, man. They don't care. And this all starts with this whole Cambridge Analytica. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, by the way. I'm genuinely not. But
no, of course.
Cambridge Analytica and the using of media and people's information, to drip feed them, and algorithms, and people giving feeds to sort of play on people's insecurities, and play on people's prejudices, and sort of shift people. I think that's real. I don't think that's like some kind of lizard that's controlling or anything.
I absolutely agree. What with the lack of accountability that we hold in British politics now has completely shifted. I said to my old man, 6 years ago, there was an article that came out that whole David Cameron put his dick in a pig, that kind of thing, and it was like a 6-month news story. Since then, Boris Johnson, since he's been in as Prime Minister, has done 5 or 6 things that David Cameron would have had to resign for, and it's just like another thing he's done. It's like the standards are just lower and lower and lower, and there's no remote
don't
any
think people
impactful
care.
opposition. It's insane.
This is what I mean. It's like, you see these things are going on, yeah, and I just don't think people care. Or let me rephrase that.
Yeah,
Not
there is an
everyone.
apathy. There is an apathy, though. I think that's right.
There's some of that, and they're just like, well, whatever, it's better than Corbyn or whatever, all this sort of stuff, yeah. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into any sort of Corbyn stuff here at all. But I think there's that thing that I think some people do care, and some people, are genuinely trying to do the best. And I do think there are good people out there, 100%, yeah. But I think, unfortunately, there is a slight majority, or in this country that are like that, which is why this stuff is happening. And so, to answer. Picking me up on the quote there. Good. This is good journalism, by the way. I'm liking this line expression. This is real. I mean, this is real. You're actually unpicking it, and trying to understand a little bit further, I suppose, where I'm coming from. Certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine you've had 15 interviews where you get asked your favourite colour and your favourite band. I'm not interested in talking about that.
I don't even like music, man. Do you know what I mean? Why am I?
Yeah, so it's overrated anyway. Let's just.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I didn't. I mean, it's a weird one for me, yeah, because it's like I think these things, and I see this, and I think we were all living through this, and it's like I was seeing this shift, I was seeing this, and you throw into this pot, yeah, mental health issues, you throw into this anxiety, you throw into this pot stresses of people not being able to have the right connections with people, and you've got like quite a unpleasant. Experience for sorry to say a lot of people, yeah, and this, and a lot of this music, and certainly the songs are born out of this. When I'm thinking about, what we're writing about lyrically, this is the sort of stuff that I'm coming from with. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. Just to go on. Sorry.
I don't know. So that's kind of it with this. I mean, it's like I don't know. If people get something from the tracks, do you know what I mean? And they get, and they get a feeling from it. That's, I mean, to be honest with you, anybody that likes this just blows me away. I mean, genuinely, I'm utterly humbled by the response that we've had for this record. Yeah, in how we set it up with no expectations. Like I said, we didn't have any of these. Like, of course, we've got all the social media handles and all this sort of business now, and this is, it is what it is. Yeah, but it's like. But to just have this, like, let's just write some honest songs about how we're feeling, how we're seeing the world, But also, we're not getting on too much of a like rant thing. Something quite sort of, you're not going to get any like speeches from me or anything like that, or James or anyone like that at the gigs or anything like that. I don't think so. It's like, we'll say we haven't so far. No, we're not going to. It's not going to happen. But,
no, it's about finding a balance, though, isn't it? The music is the best weapon that you can wield in these kind of battles. That's the way. You talk about isolation, you talk about separation. The best way to fight that is unity and truth. And if you can do that for your music, then that's the best weapon you can wield against stuff like this. Speaking of the album, which I guess is the point of this conversation, I imagine, part of the interview. Let's talk about the album. I think we might as well get to it at some point. I want to talk to you a little bit, like you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I really want to actually zero in a little bit. Because now in 2022, to turn around and say, we didn't use a click track. We didn't follow.
Live. We did in the studio. Yeah, we did in the studio. Of course we did. But I mean, we're not using click track. Yeah.
But to even do that now is an astonishing removal, really, from the 2022 Pro Tools, 15 guitar tracks, extra clicky click drums, sounds like a machine's done it, that kind of musical tropes that are now existing. Really an alternative metal throughout. And I love alternative metal, but sometimes you can kind of tell. But to go against that, now, was it... Now, I'm trying to figure out why you might have done this. I could just directly ask you, but I was thinking that, was it to better serve the genre that you're playing in, like the hardcore vibe, the punk vibe? Or was it to capture something that feels less manufactured for yourself and musicians? Was it a time-related decision? What was the idea going into that?
So just to clarify, there were, I think, some of the tracks that we recorded in the studio were used to a click track. Live, there is no click tracks. Yeah, just for that. It's about feel and it's about how we do it. The whole thing as well, I think, in doing this band, the guitar player comes from a very, very good, but an extremely polished, professional outfit.
Yeah, Tesseract's a very different occasion.
Yeah. I mean, where everything, they don't hit the wrong string. Do you know what I mean? They're that kind of
yeah,
perfect,
absolutely,
that kind of good.
polished.
Yeah, you know, they're really, you know, there's no, you know, they're awesome with all, you know, with the in-ear monitors and you know, all of this sort of thing. I mean, Rach is the only one that has, you know, uses in-ear monitors. I mean, when we first started rehearsing, me and James just used to put like toilet paper in our ears, just to, like, because we used to forget our earplugs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was like that sort of fun gag. That's probably more down to us not being mindful, but anyway, but it was but anyway, I've said too much again. But that,
no, not at all. Carry on. Yeah.
But I think that that attitude, you know, of just doing that and just getting out, just plugging in and playing, and the fact that it's 6-string guitars. It's, I mean, this, you know, it's so very different, and it's a completely different beast, a completely different animal. It's trying to say things in a different way and act in a different way as a, you know, as a band, and not have also some of those, you know, pressures. I mean, even like if you were to talk to Nick, you know, about some of the other, like, you know, extreme metal bands he's been in, he's had to, you know, he's playing live, he's had to click, you know, everything has to be exactly the same, you know, for each song.
This has got to be a relief then, surely. This has got to be like a musician's holiday, by contrast.
Well, this is what I mean. Yeah. So I mean, so we're just like, you know, obviously we try and play the songs correctly. Yeah, I'm not saying this is, you know,
of course.
Yeah, it's not, but it's you know, but it's not kind of, it's, as I said, it's that punk rock attitude, even if some of the music is more, you know, more flavored in metal and that kind of thing. Yeah, but I know these things obviously do cross over, and that's the thing, and I think that's kind of like summing this up. It's like, you know, we just get there to, I mean, the amount of shows, I mean, we haven't even done that many shows, I don't know, 15, 60, something like this, you know, we've got there and it's just like, right, no sound check, you know, plug in, get there's your line check, bang, off you go, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. Yeah, and a lot of it, and that's great, and and then it's just about the sound and the noise and the songs that we're playing. Yeah, and that's, I think, without sounding like some kind of pastiched has-been, well, I'm a has-been, but it's pastiched, it's kind of what works and what I suppose, you know, some people seem to like. I don't know, I've said too much again.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I love that. I love that it's part of the mentality, and just everything that goes into that makes a lot of sense to me. And it sounds, just from the outside looking in, I mean, like I've flirted with being in a band when I was in my teens, so I fucking hated click tracks. I played drums and stuff. The band of my existence, man. Like, I just want to just play the riff and I'll play along. Like, that's always the way that I was preferred to work. So that sounds just like a much more, like you talk about, organic, natural, fun, stress-free, relatively speaking, experience. And that sounds phenomenal. And it seems to be paying dividends. So I want to talk about sort of the future and the past, sort of like where the band is now, and basically having a look through some of the tour dates you're doing. Like, you talk about a year, you're playing Bloodstock in August. Like, it's superb to start. You're pretty much on tour now, on and off, essentially, from now until August. I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm assuming you might tell me, I don't know, we'll see what things are going August, but what's the plan here? Like, after August, are you going to, like, are we going back to Tesseract, and are we coming back to South London? Are we, you know, setting up a blog criticizing Jon Reid, or or are we like saying, okay, album number 2?
She was amazing. I mean, there's no
sorry, I'm twisting your words. I'm sorry. But yeah, we get to the end of summer. Are you guys saying, okay, what next? Are we putting that on the shelf? We're going back to our separate lives. What's the game plan?
Well, okay. So as I said, there is no expectations and things like that as to where and how this goes. The matter of fact, we've got these gigs and we're doing what we're doing is amazing. First step is obviously the record's dropping next week, or in a few days, depending on when this is aired, and that is great. There'll be another video. There'll be one, I think there's one coming on the release, and then one more as well that will be dropping a little bit later in the year. Definitely do some more shows later in the year. If we can, will happen for sure. There might be, you're actually the first person that hasn't, like, in a few days, asked me, goes, is there more? Is there going to be another album? You know, I'm getting asked this.
First one's not even out. When's album 2? What's happening there?
Yeah, mate. anyway, I've been asked this on the, no, but this is great, which means people like it, which again, it just blows me away.
Absolutely.
But it's like, so yeah, I mean, that's a thought. Yeah, we'd love to do that. I think that that could very, we all want to do that. So that's another thing to be thinking about. It's doing gigs out there, but it's also, it's like, as is the way, and it's like, I think a lot of people know we've all got lives, we've all got jobs, we've all got families. We've all got, like, there's only so much time, that you can actually have just in in doing this stuff. So I love it. I really enjoy it, and I think that's reciprocated. And the same feeling from everybody. All the guys. I think from what I could, I'm totally into this and totally up for seeing where this will go. But of course, there's a life balance, there's a career balance, there's all of this, to be considered, in doing that. There is no master plan. I mean, we're still, at this point, we don't have management or anything like that. It's the four of us. That's what it is. Yeah, that's kind of like, we're lucky enough to have a record deal, which is incredible. So we've got, there's avenues there, and there's, we're being supported on, some of the booking and that kind of thing as well, some of the press and that sort of stuff, of course, as well. So there's certain, again, to be in a situation where it's warranted, because there's, most of the time people don't, I mean, the amount of bands that come out, God, the amount of things I've done where people don't care or like it, what I mean? So it's just kind of, and that's cool, I mean, I'm not like I've done it.
It's part of life. It's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable.
Yeah, and that's cool, you know what I mean? There's no stress there. I was never doing it to be like, sort of, rock star, and I'm not doing it now to be, you know what I mean? It's like, to be, any of this sort of stuff. It's like, we're just doing it to see where it goes. And I hope, we get some, more shows. I'd love to get to the mainland. I'd love to get to the States. That's out there, but all of this is money and time and all this and this sort of stuff. And if there's appetite for it as well, which hopefully there will be. Yeah,
of course. I can't see a world where this doesn't sort of end in a positive way for you, especially if you've got all these big shows coming up that you're really excited about. You'll get into the process where you start, writing as friends and working on things. Things will naturally reoccur again. But I have to conclude the interview. This has been fantastic. We are running out of time, I'm afraid. Just want to say thank you so much for having us, coming on, coming to speak to us here at Noizze. Cage Fight's debut album is out May the 13th. Jon Reid, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Good. I hope you don't have to edit and mute me too much.
Nah, not at all. This is going out. Like the Cage Fight album. I'm not even editing it. I'm just sending it to my guy and just being like, just press play. Just send it out there. Just send it out there. With the parental advisory stickers going on the front, and that's it. It's fine.
Well, you were the one that was swearing. I haven't sworn in this one. So
I'm just gonna pretend it was mutual. That helps me out.
All right,
that's the way. It's a shared responsibility.
Does that help?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. I've just done it.
We're bonded now. That's fine. We're in this together. John, it's been absolutely an ideal pleasure. Next time you come around or you need to have a chat as part of a media tour, do consider us. Would be lovely to have you on once again.
Oh man, talk to you. Is it? I know jazz. I think perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem at all.
All right.
Just thank you so much. Have a great day. Thanks again, my man.